The Harrison Company makes two products, the Rascon and the Parcel, and uses a conventional costing system in which a single plant-wide predetermined overhead rate, computed based on direct labor hours, is used to allocate manufacturing overhead to products. Data for the two products for the upcoming year are as follows. Our direct material cost per unit is expected to be $13 for the Rascon. Our direct labor cost per unit is $6. And we expect to spend 0.4 direct labor hours on each unit of the Rascon and expect to produce 20,000 units. For the Parcel, our direct material cost per unit is $22. Our direct labor cost per unit is $3, and our direct labor hours per unit is 0.2, and we expect to produce 80,000 units of the Parcel during the coming year. Our first requirement is to calculate the total unit cost for both the Parcel and the Rascon. We're told that the company's expected manufacturing overhead cost for the coming year is $576,000. We'll use this and our estimated total direct labor hours to calculate a predetermined overhead rate, so we can calculate the manufacturing overhead applied to each unit. For the Rascon, we expect to produce 20,000 units at 0.4 direct labor hours per unit, so in total we expect to work 8,000 hours making the Rascon. For the Parcel, we expect to spend a total of 16,000 direct labor hours, which is the 80,000 units times 0.2 hours per unit. This means our total estimated direct labor hours for the year is 24,000. If we take our total manufacturing overhead of $576,000 and divide it by our estimated direct labor hours, we get a predetermined overhead rate of $24 per direct labor hour. We can now use our predetermined overhead rate to apply manufacturing overhead to both the Rascon and the Parcel. The amount of predetermined overhead that we will allocate to the Rascon will be $9.60 per unit. That's our $24 predetermined overhead rate multiplied by the 0.4 direct labor hours. For the Parcel, we will allocate $4.80 in manufacturing overhead, which again is the same $24 per hour predetermined overhead rate, this time only multiplied by 0.2 direct labor hours. Our total estimated per unit cost for the Rascon then will be $28.60. This is our direct material plus direct labor plus our applied manufacturing overhead. For the Parcel, it'll be $29.80. For our second requirement, we're told that management is considering an activity-based costing system in which half the overhead would continue to be allocated on the basis of direct labor hours and half would be allocated on the basis of engineering design time. This means we're going to have two cost pools for our manufacturing overhead. We'll have a labor-related cost pool of $288,000 and an engineering design time related cost pool of $280,000. Our labor-related cost pool will continue to allocate on the basis of direct labor hours, which from above we calculated to be 24,000 direct labor hours, which means our predetermined overhead rate for labor-related overhead cost will be $12 per direct labor hour. Our engineering-related overhead costs are going to be allocated based on engineering design time, which we were told is expected to be 3,000 hours for the Rascon and 3,000 hours for the Parcel, for a total of 6,000 hours, which means our predetermined overhead rate for allocating engineering-related overhead will be $48 per hour. This is our estimated cost of $288,000 divided by our 6,000 design hours. So our rate will be $48 per design hour. We'll now calculate the application of applied overhead. Our labor-related overhead cost will be based on 8,000 direct labor hours for the Rascon and 16,000 for the Parcel, and these were calculated above. Our design time related at $48 per hour will be allocated based on our estimated engineering design time for the Rascon and Parcel, which we're told is $3,000 for each of the products. This means that the allocated labor-related overhead allocated to the Rascon will be $96,000. This is our predetermined overhead rate of $12 per direct labor hour multiplied by 8,000 estimated hours. The design time related to the Rascon will be $144,000. This is the $48 per hour multiplied by 3,000 estimated hours. Our total overhead then allocated to the Rascon will be $240,000. This is simply the sum of the labor-related overhead cost and the design time-related cost. Since we expect to produce 20,000 units, the overhead cost per unit for the Rascon will be $12 per unit. For the Parcel, we will allocate $192,000 worth of labor-related overhead. This is our labor-related cost of $12 per direct labor hour multiplied by the 16,000 hours. Design time-related overhead cost will be $144,000, which is our $48 predetermined overhead rate multiplied by 3,000 hours. The total amount of overhead assigned to the Parcel will be $336,000. Since we plan to produce 80,000 units, the overhead cost per unit for the Parcel is estimated at $4.20. In calculating our total unit cost for the Rascon and Parcel, let's first pick up our estimated overhead cost per unit of $12 for the Rascon and $4.20 for the Parcel. Next, we'll pick up our direct material, direct labor cost for each unit, which was given in the problem, which means the per unit cost for the Rascon is estimated at $31 per unit. This is again our direct material cost of $13 plus $6 in direct labor and $12 in allocated overhead. For the Parcel, our estimated unit cost is $29.20.